The mall was alive with the usual weekend energy, children tugging at their parents, friends laughing over snacks, shoppers carrying bags that swung with each hurried step. In the middle of the crowd, Ethan Anderson, a quiet 17-year-old, walked into his father's luxury clothing store. He wasn't flashy, dressed in a simple hoodie and jeans, but his sharp eyes scanned the racks with the ease of someone who knew this place better than most. To him, the store wasn't just a shop, it was part of his childhood. He'd spent countless hours in the back office, doing homework while his father managed customers. But today, he just wanted to check out a new jacket he'd seen advertised in the window. Two mall security guards, however, didn't see Ethan as a regular kid browsing. From their vantage point, they saw only a teenager who didn't belong among neatly dressed shoppers. One elbowed the other and muttered, "Keep an eye on him. Hoodie kid looks shady." Ethan picked up the jacket, feeling the fine fabric between his fingers, then glanced toward the fitting rooms. That was enough. The guards started tailing him, whispering into their radios like they had caught a hardened criminal. He sensed their eyes on him but brushed it off at first, telling himself it was nothing. Still, as he stepped toward the mirror, one thought nagged at the back of his mind: why are they watching me? By the time Ethan reached the fitting rooms, the guards had already made up their minds. They weren't waiting for evidence. In their eyes, his appearance alone was proof enough, and so, before Ethan could even try the jacket on, his ordinary day at the mall was about to spiral into a storm of humiliation. Ethan had barely stepped out of the fitting room when the two security guards closed in. Their heavy boots echoed across the polished floor, and before he could even speak, one grabbed his wrist. "All right, kid," the taller one barked, "hand it over. You're not walking out of here with that jacket." Ethan froze, startled. "What? I didn't steal anything. I was just trying it on." But his words were drowned out by the sudden shift in the store's atmosphere. Shoppers stopped mid-step, turning their heads. Some pulled out their phones, whispering to each other as the scene unfolded. A woman gasped, tugging her child closer. To them, it looked like an arrest in progress. The second guard yanked the jacket from Ethan's hands and sneered, "Save it. We've heard all the excuses before." Heat rushed to Ethan's face, his ears burning as humiliation washed over him. He wasn't just being accused, he was being put on display, paraded like a thief in the very store his family owned. He tried to protest, but the grip on his wrist tightened, and the laughter of a few teenagers in the corner made his chest ache. "Please, let me explain," he began, his voice trembling. The taller guard cut him off, dragging him toward the front of the store. "Tell it to the mall office, kid." As they marched him past the staring crowd, Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. It wasn't just the sting of being treated like a criminal, it was the way people looked at him, like they had already judged and found him guilty. In that moment, Ethan wasn't just losing his dignity. He was being stripped of his voice. As the men tightened the zip ties, the woman's calm demeanor startled them. She wasn't pleading, panicking, or even resisting. She was studying them with sharp, measured eyes. "Do you have any idea who you're putting your hands on?" she asked coolly. One of the fake officers scoffed. "Yeah, trespasser. Don't make it worse for yourself." The woman tilted her head, a faint smile tugging at her lips. With steady hands, she reached into her jacket pocket, slowly, deliberately, then pulled out a leather badge wallet. The gold shield gleamed under the streetlight. "U.S. Police Captain." The air froze. Both men stepped back instinctively, their fake authority crumbling in an instant. Their smug expressions vanished, replaced by wide-eyed panic. They had zip-tied a decorated law enforcement officer, and the consequences would be devastating. "Now," she said firmly, her voice carrying the weight of command, "drop the act. Take off those vests, place your hands on your head, and pray you make it out of this with just an arrest record." The tables had turned. The predators were now the prey. The men froze, their breaths ragged, eyes darting from the badge to each other like trapped animals. For a split second, silence hung heavy in the night. Then, panic struck. Without warning, one of them ripped off his tactical vest and bolted down the street. The other hesitated, fumbling with the zip ties still in his hand, before following in a clumsy sprint. Their boots pounded against the pavement, but their fear was louder than their steps. The woman didn't chase them. She didn't need to. Calmly, she pulled a small radio from her belt. "This is Captain Harris. 2 imposters just attempted unlawful detention. They are fleeing east on Maple Street. Send units." Within moments, sirens echoed in the distance. Red and blue lights painted the neighborhood as squad cars zipped through the streets. Neighbors peeked through blinds, their whispers mixing with the wailing sirens. Captain Harris flexed her wrists against the zip ties until another officer cut them free. Her composure never wavered, though her eyes burned with resolve. They thought they could play cops, she muttered. Now they'll learn what happens when you cross the real ones. The hunt for the fake HOA cops had officially begun.
The imposters didn't make it far. Squad cars boxed them in just 2 blocks away, their tires screeching against the asphalt. Flashlights cut through the darkness as officers leapt out, weapons drawn, on the ground. Now. The 2 fake HOA cops dropped, trembling. The zip ties, fake badges, and cheap tactical vests were scattered around them like discarded costumes. One tried to mutter something about just keeping the neighborhood safe, but the excuse fell flat. Captain Harris arrived moments later, stepping out of her cruiser with unshaken authority. Her presence silenced the chaos. She looked down at the men, her jaw tight. You thought you could intimidate people. Pretend to be what you'll never have the courage or honor to be. She paused, her voice cutting like steel. You picked the wrong woman tonight. The officers cuffed the men and hauled them up. Neighbors gathered, murmuring in disbelief as the truth unfolded. These weren't protectors, but predators hiding behind fake power. As the men were loaded into the police van, Captain Harris turned to the crowd. Let this be a reminder. Real authority doesn't need costumes. It's proven through service, not fear. Justice wasn't just served, it was exposed for all to see. What would you have done if fake cops showed up at your door? Drop your thoughts in the comments. White down pointing backhand index, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Echo Resistance for more real justice stories.